I never thought that I'd be comfortable dancing sober, but this one practice was a game changer for me. So, if you're in that boat too, kind of figuring out if you're able to dance sober, you might want to stick around because this might be useful for you too. I'm Jason, and I am studying somatic sexology as I build out my sex coaching business and kind of documenting the whole process along the way, like what I'm learning and how I'm feeling, and just generally the ups and downs of transitioning to this whole new career in my late 30s. And one of the things that we were talking about in our most recent unit that we were studying was shame, and in particular, sexual shame. And so for me, that's such a loaded topic, shame. So naturally, there's a lot there that I wanted to get into. And part of what we needed to look into was like, how does shame show up in ourselves, but also like in our relationships and just society and culturally in general. And so for me, what we needed to do was team up with a partner and kind of go through those exercises together. And that's a loaded part for me because I grew up in a very conservative household. Like sex wasn't discussed at all. It was non existent. And so I formed these really, I guess, unhealthy habits, a lot of shame about my own sexuality when I was younger because I didn't really have any outlet to kind of express it. And so I carried that through a lot of my life. So naturally, this topic was of interest to me through study, but also as an ADHDer, like I feel like I'm always on the back foot and always trying to prove myself. And so low self worth is quite common for ADHD as well. And so that shame coupled with sexual shame, I knew this topic was going to blow up for me. And so one of the things that we did with my practice partner was we needed to co-create a practice that I could then do to really lean into my shame, how I'm feeling, like where is it in my body, and kind of find that learning edge where I could hit it, right? Really feel like, oh, now I've reached that point where I'm uncomfortable. And where I got to with this partner of mine was dancing, because I used to love dancing. Like it was a big part of my life. I would always be out clubbing, but the problem that I'm now facing is that that dancing that I used to do, it was always, well, it wasn't ever sober. Um, and now I am sober. Like I've been sober for 3 years now. So the idea of going out dancing is way too anxiety driven for me. Like I've just put too much weight there. And I knew this was a big one, right? Because there's a lot of shame involved in that. Like, how do people look at me? Like, what do they think when they see me dancing? And when I'm not sober, I don't care about any of that. But when I am sober, that's front and center. So I knew this practice would be intense for me. And so the idea that I co created was in my house, 3 times, once per day, I'm just going to crank up some tunes that I like and I'm just going to dance in my house, blinds closed, whatever, and just see what comes up. Like, where do I feel it? Like, at what point do I start to feel that uncomfortable feeling like I'm doing something wrong, or there's that negative self talk hitting me? And it was about 10 minutes into it, and I felt it. But I also felt fantastic, like getting back into something that I loved. And so the next day, I set a goal of doing it for longer. I set 15 minutes. I ended up hitting 60, like non-stop, just dancing full on. I was sweating and everything in my lounge. Like this is lunchtime, having just a blast. Like it was amazing. Tunes were loud. I had a great time. And I didn't feel any of the same shame that I felt the previous day. Almost like actually doing something about it, being in my body, actually dancing, and no longer just overthinking about it, just completely threw it away. It was quite amazing, actually. And so the third day, I repeated it, but this time I did it in front of a mirror. And I felt something come up in this sense because, there's no hiding away from it now. I'm front and center, literally, like I've got my moves going right in front of the mirror and I can see everything about it. But when I felt that coming up, like I felt the stiffness in my shoulders, I just accepted that and kind of worked through it and allowed this whole thing to continue. And it went away. And each of these days that I was doing this exercise, this dancing, and feeling into it and accepting what I was feeling, it passed real quick. And what happened was I had this renewed energy that I felt throughout the rest of the day, which was quite amazing actually, because I was able to bring that into my afternoon and with my kids, and just a whole different dynamic unfolded, and it was really enjoyable. And so what I found was that actually doing something about it versus overthinking about it, where for me, I would think, oh, I can't dance, whatever the reason is, all this negative self-talk, it all went away when I started to actually do it. And that was the real powerful piece. Of course, I did a lot of writing and other parts of the study around this, but just showing up and doing it was massive. And so for me, the next big step is, well, how can I take this out of my house into public, where there's another level of it's like version 2 of the shame, right? Coming through when I'm actually in public. But ticking off the first piece was a massive win. So I'm curious though, if you've done anything else similar, like either sober dancing or exercises to address and feel into, I don't know, shame that you might be feeling. And if you have, just put it in the comments, because I'm super curious and keen to chat.